Human toll from the coronavirus is mounting. In China, authorities confirm that 361 people have died from the virus. That tops the 349 people who were killed from the SARS virus back in 2003. And now the World Health Organization and Google are teaming up to ensure that people get accurate and detailed facts about the virus. Twitter and Facebook are also taking steps to stop the spread of misinformation. And while the coronavirus is making all the headlines, it's important to note that the flu is actually a much bigger threat than that virus here in America. The CDC believes that 180,000 people have become sick with the flu so far this season, while 10,000 have died from it. Our editor-in-chief, Andy Serwer, is joining us now. That's a sobering statistic about the flu, right, Andy?
Yeah.
Do you think that, in general, the markets have been overreacting or underreacting to this coronavirus?
Yeah, I don't think they've been overreacting. I mean, this is a big unknown story still. We haven't wrapped our brains around it yet. We don't know the full impact of the coronavirus. And I mean, just consider the fact that in China, large portions of this country are now not at work, and this country accounts for 20% of global GDP. And then you've got supply chain, tourism, airlines, all being impacted. And again, we don't know the extent to which these industries, to how much these industries are going to be impacted going forward.
Hey, Andy, I read one note from the sell side, I believe this morning, suggesting that Chinese GDP could slow to 4.5% this year because of the coronavirus. Does that sound about right?
It sounds about right from the estimates that I've seen, Brian. You're talking about at least half a percentage point to 1.5 percentage points of GDP in China being lopped off. And in the United States, you're talking about 0.4 of a percentage point of GDP, which is actually a much bigger deal because we have a lower growth rate than they do, or a lower than they do. So that is actually some very serious stuff. And, you know, Apple's talking about deploying its supply chain. Levi's, Starbucks, McDonald's are closing stores for temporarily at least there. So a lot of impact. In the United States, for instance, tourism from China accounts for 7% of total tourism. That's going to take a huge hit, and on and on.
But it should be really, in the scope of things, a blip on the radar. I mean, if they were able to get a handle on this in the next weeks or even a couple of months, this would be a first quarter GDP event. Yeah,
it would be a discrete event, and it may go into second quarter besides. And it's worth noting that when I was talking about China, that the first quarter is typically the weakest quarter by far because of the Lunar New Year, and that actually just takes 10 days to 2 weeks of economic activity off the board completely. It's expected because everyone knows that's happening. And that, in fact, is why the market in China is down so much, because while we've been open all these days and been falling down a little gradually, they were closed for all those days, and so they had that huge drop. And in fact, you may see a big drop tomorrow as well, because there were limits on the drop today. So, but we just don't know, Alexis. And you know the old saw about uncertainty, right?
Yeah, that much is for sure. A developing situation, that much is for sure. Andy Serwer, good to see you.
Thanks.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.